It's the best of the rest. Time to put them to the test. In case your memory is hazy, it's Blaxploitation, baby. This is Black History Month, a 29-day celebration of Black exploitation films.
The Final Comedown is a hard movie to talk about. In a rarity for a movie from this era, it's told out of order and mostly through flashbacks, and because of this, it makes it disjointed and at times hard to follow. I think I could sum it up for the most part though. The Final Comedown stars Billy Dee Williams as Johnny Johnson, the leader of a Black Panther-like group who don't really get a name because it consists of a random mix of former college students and disgruntled young adults, white and black. We know it's definitely not supposed to be the Panthers though, because the Panthers get a shout out in the movie. Okay, so once again, we get a militant group whose top member is named Johnny, just like an uptight. I guess the name Johnny just fits. It just sounds like a rebel. One of the leaders is even played by Raymond St. Jacques, who played BG in Uptight. Also, am I the only one who always thought that Billy Dee Williams looked like a lost Jackson brother? Okay, I BS'd and digressed long enough. The Final Comedown boldly begins at the end and lets us know our main character's fate right at the beginning. Johnny and his crew get cornered in an alleyway, and even worse, Johnny has taken a gunshot to his abdomen and it's not looking good. The movie then makes it seem like he's dying and his whole life is flashing before his eyes, and it's these flashbacks that make up the bulk of the film. We get insight into the age-old question of, I bet you're wondering how I ended up like this. If you just see Johnny dying in the streets, surrounded by the rest of his goons, you might think he just overreacted a little bit and got what was coming to him. But the flashbacks provide a lot of context into the complicated person that Johnny is. Like right from the beginning, we learn that even though Johnny seemingly hates white people with a passion, rightfully so in some cases, it definitely doesn't stop him from sampling the mayonnaise. It's such a weird dynamic because he insults her every chance he gets.
You and the rest of those zombies running around talking about you all dropped out. They don't educate you in those schools, baby. They condition you. That's their bag. And then feed you right to their system to keep the machinery going. You and your brother and the rest of you carrying those fucking peace signs and talking that two-sided trash and still taking your parents' money. If you lived in my skin one day, you'd blow your fucking brains out.
Well, damn, Johnny, what you messing with her for? She and the other white advocates in the movie are supposed to represent the young liberal activists who historically would ride real heavy for black causes, but wouldn't stray too far away from their affluent upbringings. This is put front and center in a scene where Johnny meets the rich parents of one of his white friends. The father is so scared at the mere presence of Johnny, he damn near calls the cops. All this and more just adds another dimension to the story. And when the movie flashes back to the present, it makes you look at Johnny and the situation just a little different every time. Every character in the alley has a small part to play in how things turned out the way they did, and props to the movie for making them all feel equally important. I especially like the friendship between Johnny and Billy Joe, played by D'Urville Martin. They ended up bonding after they both were discriminated against for a job. They just had to laugh at the reason to keep from crying.
I'm underqualified and you're overqualified.
Yeah. Billy Joe ends up being the most ride or die member of the group by the end. There's a lot more characters in the film that I can go into depth about, like Johnny's mother, who has internalized racism, his father, who's a figurative bootlicker who used to shine shoes for white guys, his girlfriend Luana, who started out as a dance instructor before becoming radicalized by Johnny and his crew, and a few more auxiliary characters. The only thing I found kind of funny is how all these people end up in the alleyway. It's the worst barricade in the world. It's a wonder that the cops don't just come in and kill them all. Even if some of them only get mere moments of screen time, they all become important to the plot by the end. You just have to make it there for it all to make sense. I would say the conclusion itself is well worth sitting through a montage of flashbacks to get to. The Final Comedown is a story about racism, discrimination, and police brutality, and an examination of how those things can push otherwise well-adjusted people to do irrational things to get a better life. This isn't just about a simple violent militant group. It's about people at the end of their rope who will set the rope on fire if it meant they would have a better life.